Welcome to the final and third video of this series going over the main ideas of Earth Dome review packet. So again, we'll skip down through. Hydro means water, the energy form of conduction, convection, and radiation heats the air and causes it to move in currents. As it moves around, it gets the characteristics of the land or the water that it was over. More north, colder, equator, it's obviously going to be warmer, and further south, it's going to be colder again. Those interactions and movements cause the air to have different characteristics and to move differently. So we're now into the section called air masses. So if you've got a cold air mass and you've got a warm air mass, what happens when they meet? So we call a cold air moving this way a cold front. And if we have warm air moving this way, we call that the warm front. So what happens when cold front and warm front meet? Well, we know cold air tends to be more dense, so it sticks near the ground. We'll put the ground right there. Whereas the warm air, it doesn't mind lifting up, especially if there's some cold air. So as they meet, the warm air actually will go rise up over the top of the cold air down here, warm air here, everybody's happy. What you don't want is if the cold air gets pushed up over the warm air. The cold air wants to go down, the warm air wants to go up, and we have a problem. And that problem we saw earlier. 10 minutes. The fastest way for those two air groups to exchange places is a tornado. We'll get into the hazards with wild weather warning, but right now I want to get in and go over what happens when air masses meet. So you can see that we talked here, we got a warm front. This is warm air moving in, running into cold air. What happens? Let's open up this and take a look. All right, so hello, there we go. All right, so A, B, C, D, E, let's fill these in. The warm air mass in this would be D, moving forward. So we said warm air is going to rise up. The cold air mass is A, over on the other side. The warm front, that edge, would be F right there, where the warm air's front is, the front of the warm air. It's not the back. It's not called a low back or a cold back. Wouldn't be making any sense. Cirrus clouds. Cirrus means thin and wispy. So you see thin and wispy up here because there's not much water yet. There's just a little moisture starting to condense. Not really thick enough to make a cloud yet, so it's those thin clouds. But very soon after that, you're going to start to get stratus clouds. Stratus means layered. Strata, stratus, and we'll get to that when we get to geology as well. So remember, stratus. It's also one of the layers of the atmosphere right there. It's called the stratosphere, which is the layered part. And the area of precipitation, which is rain, it's going to be here where it's falling down. Might be precipitating rain. It might be precipitating snow. You have to wait and see depending on the temperature. So warm front here is moving from the left side to the right. And the change of the weather here is going to happen pretty slowly. So you're first going to get those first clouds, then it's going to get cloudier, and then you have some rain. Takes a little bit longer for that to occur. Clear that up, move down to our next area where we're talking about cold fronts. So again, and stationary fronts just sort of whether they're not really doing anything. They're both moving, but one can't push the other one. We won't really talk too much about that, but let's look at specifically the cold front. Again, changing directions, and there we go. So the warm air mass in this case is going to be at E over here on this side. The cold air mass is the one that's moving into it. Again, notice the arrow, so that's cold air mass. Oops, sorry, that should have been there. The cold air mass is, did I hide it wrong? Yep, D. And then the cold front, that edge, is A. The storm clouds, obviously, are these big things. Again, the cold air acts like a bulldozer. It hits that warmer air and poof, pushes it up. When you push it up really fast, that means all of the clouds are forming in one area, and the precipitation is going to all be in that one area. So here we've got the cold front moving in from left to right. The weather changes very quickly when cold fronts come in, because cold front doesn't slowly move up and over. It just plows in, pushing the warm air up quickly. Therefore, it's going to, sorry about that. Yeah, move the whole thing. It's only going to last for a few hours. And then it'll probably clear out afterwards, where you have the higher pressure after. And then tall storm cones may form along that front. Usually they do. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to precipitate, though. Save and close, and lo and behold, video 1, 2, and 3 are done. And I hope you got a bunch of good answers from that, and even more, I hope you got all those answers correct. So good luck. Thank you. Mission Earth Dome review packets are done.